I do often wonder if vegans are maybe the devolution of man. Like in 20 years, maybe we're going to turn back into like monkeys.
There's two things that are infinite: the universe and Earthling Ed's patience. However, I'm not that sure about the universe. That's a quote from Albert Einstein. So in this video, we'll be touching base on the hidden genius of Earthling Ed. And no, it's not patience. It is something way more effective and something way more hidden than that. So most of you have probably already seen the debate here on YouTube. Hunter versus vegan. Can you kill animals and still love them? And I'm not so sure if Earthling Ed can still be called vegan after this debate, because he certainly slaughtered this woman. So in this video, you will learn exactly how Earthling Ed did that. Not the slaughtering part, but the hidden genius of Earthling Ed. Specifically the 5-step process that Earthling Ed uses to win arguments that is super apparent, especially in the beginning of this debate. We'll also be touching base on some funny, weird and notable scenes during this debate because, you know, these are quite interesting. So are you ready? Let's just dive right into it.
Hi,
hey,
it's
you. Nice to see you. How are you?
Hi, nice.
What you see right in the beginning of this debate here is that Ed is controlling the conversation.
Why do you say disagree, not strongly disagree?
Remember that in every conversation, the person that is leading the conversation is the one that asks the questions.
So what do you mean by type of meat?
So next to leading the conversation, asking a lot of questions will also make the other person feel like you understand them. And that is the first step of the 5-step process that Earthling Ed uses to win arguments. It is seek first to understand and then to be understood. It's one of the habits of highly effective people that Stephen R. Covey touches base in his book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And that is super effective in this case here, especially because Earthling Ed kind of diffuses the argument. Most of the arguments here on LadBible are super heated, but this debate turns out to be super calm.
So what type of meat do you advocate for people to eat?
So the second step of the 5-step process that Earthling Ed uses is that next, by asking a lot of questions, he gives the person the sense that he understands them. And these are both visual signs of approval and verbal signs of approval, like in this scene.
Okay.
You ever had a discussion with someone that has not given you any signs of approval? Maybe you got into an argument, you know, with a person that you really like, and the person was just sitting there like, it's not a fun argument to have.
No.
So whenever you go into an argument and you want that argument or the debate to be civilized, you have to give the other person signs of approval.
To be purchased online.
So the next step that Earthling Ed uses to really win that argument here is that number one, next to seeking to understand, asking a lot of questions, like giving obvious signs of approval, he verbalizes the approval as well. He establishes common ground. He establishes rapport for them to have a very civilized discussion. Pay special attention in this scene to the use of we, meaning, you know, us two, and what we want and what we both agree on.
What we both agree on there is that we want people to be connected to what they eat. And mindlessly shopping in a supermarket is, you know, the last thing we want. We want people to be connected.
That helps the other person to understand that you're not really in a fight here against each other, but that you're both on the same side of the table. And you can see that this is effective by the signs of approval that she gives to Ed. You know, see that head nod there? That's quite important.
And mindlessly shopping in a supermarket is, you know, the last thing we want. We want people to be connected.
And the 4th step, next to establishing common ground, is that he verbalizes the disagreement. He verbalizes the point that they disagree upon, because then it's out in the open. Then they both know that they're on the same page. And that is super important, because it shows the person that you don't really have anything to hide and that you're willing to discuss about the topic that you disagree upon.
Obviously, you know, that's going to be where we have a huge disagreement, right?
And the 5th step of this process that Earthling Ed uses, and it's kind of like his signature move, is that he does everything with a super calm and collected manner. And that is super important because being calm is contagious. Whenever you're in an argument, you know, with a non-vegan, whenever you're in an argument with a meat eater or a person that disagrees with you, remember to always be calm and collected. And part of that behavior is of course Earthling Ed's personality. He's a little bit more calm than most people, I would say, but he also has the possibility to be really enthusiastic and really firm.
We are here to support one another through those times.
Obviously, that's going to be where we have a huge disagreement, right?
We see later on that this 5-step process that Earthling Ed uses has been super effective in this scene.
And it has no purpose in either of our lives, and we don't have to. So by default, it can't be ethical to take life needlessly.
Could I ask, what do you believe makes your diet more ethical than mine?
You see that Rachel, the hunter, wants to disagree with Ed, but she doesn't interrupt him. And then later on, when he's finished, she asks, "Could I ask?" She doesn't interrupt Ed and blurts, "What makes your diet more ethical than mine?" No, she waits. And then she uses softeners in the conversation because she doesn't really like to disagree with Ed because he established common ground and did all that ninja stuff that he did there before. And that is massive because she's asking for permission to argue. Talk about someone that really controls the conversation. It's when the other person needs to ask permission to argue about, that's why you're there for. And that's, the hidden genius of Earthling Ed. It's a 5-step process here that absolutely worked his magic in this debate. So next to this 5-step process that Ed uses, there are also some notable points in this debate that we definitely need to touch base upon. One of those points is this scene.
I do often wonder if vegans are maybe the devolution of man. Like in 20 years, maybe we're going to turn back into like monkeys or, because we stop eating meat.
There's so much wrong with this argument. Number one, Homo sapiens, the species that we are, is considered to be a monkey species. So technically we are monkeys. The second thing is that 20 years is not enough for evolution to happen of any kind. It's barely a human generation. And the third thing is that there's no such thing as devolution. What evolution means is change over time. So even the regress of a species to their, to a previous behavior would still be called evolution because it would still be change over time. And the funniest thing of this all is that 10 seconds later, she says something like that.
If I had my way you have daydreams about, we'd all go back to living in caves.
Living in caves. So who's the monkey now responsible for the possible devolution of our species? Is it the evil vegans? Or is it the person, the hunter, actually looking to go back to living in caves?
In Bambi, they kill the deer, and that's why everyone's upset, because someone kills the deer. And so you say it's like a Disney movie, but you're the bad guy in the Disney movie.
But
you're the bad guy in the Disney movie. Now, isn't that a great punchline?
I love my dog. I actually tell my dogs, I'm like, I love you before I leave the house. So I know I love them.
You weren't born a deer, otherwise you've got a bullet in the heart. No.
Good job you're not born a deer. Otherwise I will put a bullet in your heart. Now that's some good slaughter right there.
And we could put lots of hunters in an area where they don't have guns and crossbows and they have to kill the animals themselves.
Trust me, that would probably appeal to a lot of hunters.
Well, strangling a deer, I'm sure, would look very graceful.
Strangling a deer, I'm sure, would look very graceful. Absolute burn. Absolute burn. Damn. Damn, son. That is badass. That is super badass. So what do you think about this debate? What do you think about the hidden genius of Earthling Ed? And do you agree or do you disagree with the points that I made here? If you agree or disagree, let me know down below in the comments. If you like this video, by the way, smash the like button. And if you want to see more videos like this, don't forget to subscribe to this channel. So see you next time.